Hello there, and you are there, and I am most definitely here. This is Killin Time. It's a bit of a bonus episode, guys. Didn't really expect to do anything for the next little while, but I asked for people to send me things on Twitter and comments, and well, you did go ahead and do that, didn't you? So there was something I wanted to talk about. In all honesty, there was something that I'd noticed whilst I was making the Luke Mitchell video. A couple of elements that I thought I wanted to talk about in the opinion piece, but believe it or not, these things are all just off the cuff. So it slipped my mind. But fate would bring it back round to me late last night through this morning, which, again, thank you to people who have been sending me stuff. Keep that up. If you do have anything as well that you think relates to what we're going to talk about today or is similar, involving this case or any other case, please do the same. Leave a comment, maybe a link to any suggested media, or send me something on Twitter. But for today, I want to talk about one thing which I think kind of ties into what we're going to be doing in the future as well, in terms of the psychological side of things, and the elements that are used by the Innocence Project, Innocence Fraud and whatnot in the US and in the UK. This is a great example. So whilst it's not that it's hot, because at the end of the day it's not going to get picked up by any media or anything like that, but it's something worth highlighting here and discussing a little. So yeah, obviously we'll do a comment corner as well, because it all kind of ties in, really, strangely enough. Fate has, as I say, found a way to tie everything in. It's just my luck after doing a wee update, and then suddenly there is something to talk about. I should maybe left it a couple of days, but there we go. So let's get into the actual subject itself. We'll get into what we're here to talk about. Little update here, and we can discuss that, and then we'll probably stick a little comment corner in at the end. So today I want to talk about, as I say, something that I wanted to bring up during the opinion piece when I was actually talking about Scott Forbes, but totally slipped my mind. So kind of strange that it should find its way back round. So I thought probably best jumping on it straight away before I forget, and we can have a little talk about it today. Really look at the ins and outs of not only what's going on, but the reality about what's being said. So the thing itself, again, thank you for the person that sent me this. They did make a couple of points themselves, which I'll probably highlight as well, because they were very good points. So with this, what it was is a gentleman called Tom Halliday, I believe his name is, who had been in a report through the Scottish Sun and Edinburgh Live, claiming that there was a knife found in a skip that he himself had handed in to the police, which then went missing. It wasn't tested, and the information was not shared with the defence team at the time. Would it be Donald Finlay QC, I believe his name is. I just remember him from Only an Excuse sketches, really, to be honest. So the claim itself, as I say, the knife was taken by police, it wasn't tested, it went missing. There's a good chance that perhaps, maybe, who knows, since the knife wasn't ever found in the case, that could be the knife. There's a mystery there. It's a little spicy. It's a little, for want of a better word, a wee bit sexy in terms of conspiracy. So that story obviously gets picked up, as I say, by the Scottish Sun and Edinburgh Live. I believe Edinburgh Live, Iona Young. I've got references for the Scottish Sun, but looking at that, Iona Young was reported it on Edinburgh Live. And I believe, obviously, that was done through Mr. Forbes. Mr. Halliday himself does go on to say, and I'll quote here, not in context, but I did that quite recently by contacting Scott, which I believe Scott Forbes, of course, saying the ramifications of that have been interesting, to say the least. Really what had happened was Mr. Halliday had said he hadn't followed the case, he'd assumed the knife and the statements would have been passed to the defence team, as a part of disclosure evidence. I'll try and put some of these screenshots up actually so you can read them. Pretty upset to find that Scott, again, believe Scott Forbes, didn't know anything about it, and the police reports about it were false. And like I say, with the ramifications comment, we'd go on to say that people had a long reach, fear of being essentially silenced. Again, I'll try and put some of these up. An aggressive Joe Jones, had approached him, things like that, worried about the ramifications for himself and his family living in the area. Now, one of the points that the person said, one of the points they made, which I have to agree with, if there's a long reach and ramifications, is it not a bad idea to then go on Twitter and talk about it with people? It seems a bit counterproductive, I think is probably the best word I could use for that. Thought that was a good point, actually, to be honest. It's not immediately what I thought, but when I got that, I kind of laughed to myself. You're absolutely right. So that aside, that's just a bit silly. What I'd like to do is perhaps read something to you again verbatim. We've got police hunting the killer of Midlothian teenager Jodie Jones. Again, I'll try and put this up actually. So police hunting the killer of Midlothian teenager Jodie Jones, carrying out forensic tests on a knife discovered in a skip near where the body was found. The knife was found by a member of the public in Newton Grange this week, less than a quarter of a mile from a secluded path where 14-year-old Jodie died. A spokeswoman for Lothian and Borders Police said the knife was one of a number recovered during the 8-week investigation into Jodie's murder. So, as you're probably hearing there when I read that, police hunting the killer of Midlothian teenager, because this is from 2003. So, the idea that there was a knife found in the skip and it wasn't tested or reported on, I find very strange when I can find a media report from 2003 which indeed reports on said knife. Indeed, it could be a different knife. Is that what, some people would say? I would say the odds of two skips in Newton Grange finding knives, that's a bit slim, is it not? If this one's such a mystery, where did this knife go? What about this knife? Is this a different knife? No, it's the same knife, isn't it? So the idea, I think Iona Young from the Sun, I'll probably have to maybe put in the description. I've not really got the ability to search for the Scottish Sun. Edinburgh Live was Iona Young. Scottish Sun, I'll have a look at that and see if I can put that in the description, and obviously put up some of these screenshots as well. We don't normally do that in Killin Time, but I think it's probably best just to show you this in full context. So yeah, as I say, I think that's there's one of two options really. You can't really. If there's a third option, please leave it in the comments below. Absolutely, but as far as I'm concerned, there is only one of two options. That includes Mr. Halliday, Mr. Forbes, and yes, I'd say the reporters from Edinburgh Live and the Scottish Sun as well. In terms of the two options, you either didn't look into it and see, the report from 2003 and think, oh, wait a minute, or it was deliberately deceptive. Now, I personally fall on the second one. I appreciate that a lot of people might not, agree with me, but I can't pull any punches when, I share my opinions. It was part of the reason I really went the way I did in terms of the opinion piece at the end with my opinion on Mr. Forbes and Ms. Lee. Was this idea that things like this didn't add up, and it's just deception, in my opinion. And I do hold a very strong opinion that that's what that is. People don't agree with me, I don't agree with people. That's as simple as that. But it's not even a case that if we all agreed with each other, it wouldn't be interesting. I just don't agree with you. So the thing you need to really ask yourself, if there is a third option, please, as I say, leave it in the comments below. But is it deception, or is it lack of due diligence? Sorry, really chewed that. And that's for across the board. Mr. Halliday, Mr. Forbes, and Iona Young and as I say, the Scottish Sun. I'll try and remember that. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Reporter. So it's strange. Why do we have this report? Why the idea that the media? Whilst I was working on the psychology side of things, the video that I want to do in terms of the ins and outs of behaviours and things like this. This is why we're doing this now. This is a little taster for what we're going to be doing in the future, essentially. Not always with the Luke Mitchell case, don't get me wrong, it's not like that, but this happens in a lot of cases. You'll find it in, just go on Twitter, have a look at any of the kind of, so-and-so, blah blah blah, is guilty, and you will find a lot of stuff. And it really can, you can get down a rabbit hole, but it shows you patterns. It really does show you patterns. Sorry, sidetrack. As I say though, whilst I was doing this, there was a couple of things that I was reading. Old posts, claims from the advocates for Luke Mitchell about the ethics of the reporting during the time, which, again, you can argue the rights and wrongs of what was being reported, but these guys were in the courtroom at the time, and these are, verbatim quotes, so I don't think there was a lot of context missing from what was said. Personally, other people might. To have this idea that, the media have a lack of ethics, there was a extensive list of what the criteria, what's expected of the media. And I would argue that really this is irony, hypocrisy, in this case, with reporting on this knife, simply because it doesn't fit in with all the ethics or the morals supposedly they're supposed to have. So, at all times, upholds and defends the principle of media freedom, the right of freedom of expression, and the right of the public to be informed. I don't think resharing a story about a knife that had nothing to do with a murder is really following that. I would then go on to say they strive to ensure the information disseminated is honestly conveyed, accurate and fair. Okay, no. Does her or his utmost to correct harmful inaccuracies. Again, it's all muchness there. I wouldn't say that's the case either. Differentiates between fact and opinion. Well, that could be argued for a lot of media, really, couldn't it? So I wouldn't say anybody really falls into that. Even myself, it's opinion. But I mean, I'm not going to make any bones about this. This is my opinion. From what I have read, what I have gathered, and what I've looked into, and this idea that people have researched for years and years. We know of one, don't we? Independently researching for years and years, probably reporting and sharing a story by Mr. Halliday, when we can find that in 2003 this was reported on and we knew about it. So that's the deception for me, and that's what I want to discuss going forward with a lot of cases, is these little techniques. We have a little scintilla of truth, and then suddenly it's repeated. There's a lot of things, like, in terms of cliches, but they're cliches because they're true. So it's easier to fall for another conspiracy than it is to be convinced that you fell for a conspiracy. It's true. It's absolutely true. Confirmation bias can come from a lot of things. I kind of want to get this into psychology of things, but if you have a mistrust for the police, let's use that, because at the end of the day it works for here. You have a mistrust of the police, you confirm that with other things that could be true. It could be another conspiracy. Look at the BLM, the riots over there. People use that to whatever effect they wanted to use that for their own confirmation bias. So what you then do is you build on that. Now, if you went down a hole where you're taking in misinformation, disinformation, deception and lies, then there's a good chance that that's then going to multiply in other areas. And what I find is strange, I'll get into this more in the psychology things, there's quite a little Venn diagram of people that follow certain beliefs in terms of Innocence Project and Innocence Fraud in the US and UK. there's a certain little Venn diagram which I find very, very interesting. They all, again, 3 things that they might not all particularly follow religiously, so to speak. Might be a little element of, you know, that, or it might be just the 2. But I want to get into that as well, because it really, really, I thought it was really interesting. So we'll get to that. On this matter though, I think what we really need to do is decide ourselves. Is it a lack of proper research into what's already been reported, which that's not real, that's that's a dereliction of duty really, or is it deception? Now, as I say, I fall on the deception side. You guys can make up your own mind, but please do leave in the comments below. If you, as I say, if you can think of anything as well that, you know, the contradiction in itself, or there's, you know, something that people have misconstrued into doing, and it's something else, whether it be about this case or something else, please share it in the comments. Share it with me on Twitter. Private message me if you want to stay anonymous. I don't mind, you know, sharing things. As I say, what I'll do is try and stick up some screenshots of some of the chat. Maybe blank out some of the more personal information, because I don't want to, as I say, do anything like you know, that would put anyone at risk as such. But yeah, let's do a quick comment corner and then we'll wrap it up. So, comment corner, I'm not going to lie, it's a wee bit thrown together on this video, because as I say, I really didn't expect to make this video. But I suppose, I mean, I answered this comment, one of the comments, sorry, the rare occasion that I do speak in the comments, but we'll go over that again because it bears repeating. But there is one that I wanted to point out, or, you know, just highlight. Is that the, yeah, highlight's the best word, I suppose. It was on the long form video about Luke Mitchell from Thomas Robertson, who said, "You," spelled with just a U, "you sound like a total duckhead, pal." Now, we all know what he meant there. That's a reference to how my breathing, probably. No, I know what he meant. Obviously, I didn't mean duck. But so it was, "You sound like a total duckhead, pal. Full stop. Scott." Okay. Right, fair enough. I don't know if there was maybe another sentence after that, or he decided he was going to suddenly change his name after that sentence. Or maybe he was talking about Scott. I don't know. But I don't know why I wanted to highlight that one, to be honest. I do apologise, that's a little bit childish, but I thought it was funny. The other one that I did want to look at is from a name I recognised, sure I recognised from other videos. I think some of the stuff that I watched, I seen this name as well. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Strange Nostalgia. I'm sure I know you, I should recognise your name. It's not very common, surely. But it said, or she said, "Are you doing a follow-up video?" And I answered it, as I say, in the comments, but as I say, I think it bears repeating here. This is what we'll be doing essentially. I can't say there'll be a follow-up video and such, but you never know, there might be another long form video in the future. I can't say that for certain, but in the immediate future we do little kind of updates like this. We will be covering other cases. We want to look at the pattern that's used across the whole of these kind of things. There's not always murder cases, but there's a lot of cases in the UK and the US which follow these same, as I say, you know, disinformation, deception and lies. That's something that I think we definitely should look at as a whole. So going forward, if there's anything that relates to this that I think's, you know, worth highlighting at the time, things like this will probably be compiled in other videos as well. Might, you know, be a bit repetitive in terms of we can always go back and say, you know, we spoke about this, such and such case. So obviously with these, I'll highlight all that in descriptions, and hopefully you can get, I'm sure if it's something that interests you, Strange Nostalgia, you'll be around. Also, I would say I've put a couple of links on Twitter and video descriptions and stuff to other people who, I believe, one of them, Roberta Glass, I mentioned in the last video, I believe she actually done something on Luke Mitchell and Eccles, I believe, was in the same episode, I believe. something we might look at as well, to be honest. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, but again, the theatre, the way that all kind of ties in, that's not too dissimilar really, let's be honest. So let me know what you think as well, guys, in the comments below about what we discussed today. Maybe we can highlight that in the next comment corner. If you guys have any other explanations, reasons, or things that you think, then obviously we might discuss that next time we do one of these. For now, obviously, as I say, sarcastic thumbs up and all the rest of it. I lose count the amount of times that I want to say that. I don't know if I actually do say it. But thank you again for all the positive comments, all the thumbs up, the sarcastic thumbs up and everything else, and the people who have subscribed and seem to be along for the journey. If you guys have any suggestions, as I say, please do share them. And let's do a little wrap up, and I will leave you guys in peace. Wrap up really is just more of the same in terms of what the end of these videos usually are. Give us a little follow on Twitter at what they found. If you have anything that you think similar in terms of not only this case but other cases where you believe deception is being used, the disinformation, deception and lies, let us know, as I say, through comments or through Twitter. Let us know what you think here as well. I put the question out to not only Mr. Halliday, Mr. Forbes, Ms. Lean, Iona Young that reported on it in Edinburgh Live, and the Scottish Sun reporter, which again I'll try and share in the comments. You'd put the question out to them, you know, what is this? Is this deception, or is this lack of proper research into, you know, what was reported on at the time? Now, again, I don't believe this is a different knife, so you can come at me with that, anybody in the comments, you really can, but I'm not buying that. This for me is as a disinformation, deception and lies. That's really what I'm looking at. So again, share your comments if you have any other explanations. I'd love to hear them, and I mean genuinely love to hear them. It'd be good maybe to see it from another side if someone has another suggestion as to why, who, what, anything like that. I want to know the opinions and the ideas that go into those opinions and how we structure them as not only as people but as a society, how we build on that. I think that's a lot more interesting than arguing about specific things, or, you know, macro and micro. I mean, I suppose it's the same argument, but I suppose I'm more interested in the macro for the moment. So if there's anything that you think, you know, would be worth looking into, or in any case, give us a little shout. As I say, a wee sarcastic thumbs up, guys. Thank you for watching all the videos and listening to my chat up to this point. It's been an experience, so thank you very much for that as well. All the positive comments, all the negative comments, regardless, at the end of the day, you guys are who you are. I'm not going to change your mind, just going to share my opinion. But we'll bring receipts, and well, bring receipts. As I say, I know obviously there's been some blowback from me making videos as well. I can see it in the comments. Now, I get you. Absolutely. Not here to argue with you guys. That's what the comments are for. You can discuss everything yourselves. We'll highlight things in comment corner. Yeah, you're free to just speak. As long as you're not putting anyone in danger, I suppose. That's probably the only thing I would ask. Just don't be a Derek. Don't be a Derek. So, going forward, as I say, we'll look at all this kind of stuff. We'll probably the next couple of months we'll see some of the psychologists in the theatre side of things come out. If we do have anything like this, then certainly I will share it, but I can't say, you know, these will be weekly or anything like that. It's really just when things come up, and it depends what case we're covering. So thank you very much for your time with this one. Please leave a comment, as I say, with your opinion below. We want to, you know, look at, what is it? Is it deception, or is it lack of due diligence? Oh my, I cannot say that today. So yeah, what is it in your opinion, or is there another option? I don't think there is. That'd be interesting though. So the only other thing I would say is what we always say, and that is enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.